leaders will fly out of the country. They're going to use a lot of money. They're going to use a lot of resources, a lot of funds, just to keep on flying out of the countries, going here and there. And when they come and try to explain how they use their money, you're going to be very, very, very much surprised. Yeah, you're going to be very much surprised. So this whole thing is happening because of corruption that is going on in our governments. You see, because of corruption that is going on in our governments, leaders don't consider working for the people. They consider keeping money for themselves. And they're going to find all the ways possible. They're going to find everything possible that they're going to use to make sure they're acquiring all this money. That is why they will keep on going here and there. You see, they will keep on having a first-class life, a fast life, a super life, and all that, having resources, having first-class hotels, having five-star hotels, and many other things. We have a different president in Botswana. He's called Dumaboko. Dumaboko refuses everything that is called, let me say, everything that uses a lot of money. He feels like, I should be working for the people. I shouldn't be keeping a lot of resources and a lot of money for myself. And here he comes with a very, very wonderful speech that he says, I shouldn't be going out carrying a lot of people. I shouldn't be going out using a lot of money, yeah, moving from one place to another, yet I'm supposed to be working for the people. I'm supposed to be using this money to take care of the problems that are going on and the problems that are in my country, if at all there is. This is an outstanding leader, a very much distinct, very much exceptional. I would want you to take a look at him, listen to his speech, and then tell me what you think on the comment section about him. I will do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. I am the African Streamline from African Streamline's Roundtable. My name is Atamba Heti. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and also press the notification bell. Be the first person to get every news as it comes in. But until then, let's take a look at the video.
When I travel, I trim down the team. I don't want to take the minister, take her away from her core responsibilities, balloon the size of the delegation unnecessarily. Why? Because when I walk around, somebody must be holding my files and my briefcase and must always be whispering to me because I haven't read and I don't understand. I'm not like that. I advise myself because I've read the documents and I can engage meaningfully with whoever. So I don't need a whole delegation. I can go alone, actually, by the way. I'm enough. By myself. Otherwise, I would not be worthy representative of the bar of Botswana. As an advocate of this, when a foreign jurisdiction wants a legal opinion on any aspect of the law in Botswana, the law itself says you seek the opinion of an advocate in that jurisdiction. If I can render those opinions to foreign countries, I cannot go alone and engage. That would be a terrible vote of no confidence on not just myself, but the legal profession that raised me. So when I travel, I look at the size of, and they know I cut it down. I need myself. I need somebody who will tell me, these are the meetings, this is the place where the meeting is. Ordinarily, I would do that myself, but they insist you must have somebody chaperoning you. Can't run away from some of these. But other than that, the Minister of International Relations has a lot on his plate. There are crises all over the place. And I have to take him because I'm going to discuss investments in Oman, investments in Ras Al Khaimah, investments in Switzerland. I have to be carrying a whole battalion and government doesn't work because it will be said, now you're operating away from... No. I am the chief diplomat of this republic. The foremost, most eloquent spokesperson of this republic is its president. And so when I step out there, brother, I step out in the service of this republic. And when I do so, I leave my all there. That's me. That's how we all must be. Every one of us. You don't need to be chaperoned. You don't need to be... No. You must know your stuff. You must read. You must inform yourself. Information is readily available in this day and age. So sometimes it is nice, it is prestigious to have 20 people around you. No. Where we are, you need a very small delegation of people who are absolutely essential. When I went, I had a Geoscience Institute. I had a few. I had Botswana Development Corporation. Absolutely necessary for the conversations that I was going to have there. And from Oman, with the Omani Investment Authority, on the 26th of November, the head of the Omani Investment Authority will be here to do something pretty much like what we are doing. Projects, delivery. Anton Chekhov, don't tell me the moon is shining. Show me some glint of light on broken glass. That's what I'm showing now. Glint of light. Size of delegation, not important. Have you communicated with the Minister of International Relations? Yes. Sometimes I have to communicate with myself only. That's what the Constitution says. The President can act on his own advice. When he does, allow him. The Constitution has given him that power. There's no problem with it. If you have a problem with it, you change the Constitution. I follow it to the letter and its spirit. But I also save the country a lot of money in the process. That's how we do these things. And so, trade, for, international relations, where they are required, you will see them. Where there's no way of excluding them, even if we wanted to trim down the size of the delegation, they will be there. But where we can do without many of these, we will, and save the country some money. That is why I've said, I say it again, that this country will be spectacularly different in 3 years. The first year is gone. We have 2. It's got to happen. One member of parliament was admonishing me today. She says, you are setting timelines that are too tight. You are putting yourself under pressure. Give yourself some more leeway. I said, no, I want to put myself under immense pressure. When your house is burning, you run at breakneck speed. And we are at that point where we should work around the clock. These deadlines mean that we work day and night to deliver. And only after we've delivered would we be entitled to rest and gloat, perhaps, so that we lay a firm foundation for generations that will come after us. This is the situation, folks. Please take your seats and accept my apologies. It's not me who demands that you stand. Apparently, that's the way things are done. I apologize. But thank you very much for being here today to witness this event. I'm going to simplify the discourse, bring it down to brass tacks and say, we are a net importer of electricity. We struggle with generation. We are not generating anywhere near enough electricity for our needs. This is why we must look elsewhere to supplement what we generate. So we have a shortage. We therefore have to wrestle with this problem. because it has serious financial implications for the country. This shortage forces us to look in particular at this point to South Africa and import electricity into the country. Of course, we import in certain parts from Namibia, but it's predominantly South Africa that we import from at huge costs. I think a ballpark figure would take us to about a few billions, 2 billion, 3 billion, thereabouts, of expenditure on imported electricity. We need to deal with this. The other problem in relation to the supply of power is obviously the transmission infrastructure. So where we survive on the generation part, we still face problems on the transmission part. So we have therefore to upgrade our transmission infrastructure. So when there's a power outage, it is either very little power has been generated or sourced, or there's a problem with the transmission lines. We need to deal with these twin challenges. Morupule A, which has been operating, reached the end of its life. It was upgraded and its life extended by 7 years. Those 7 years will run out in 2027. So Morupule A is left with 2 years. In 2027, therefore, ordinarily we will have no Morupule A. It will be mothballed, no longer exist. That would be the fate of Morupule A, meaning our generation capability is reduced, it is diminished. We have had persistent problems with Morupule B. It has never operated optimally. It has always been suboptimal, with the result that we face these persistent shortages of electricity. These are the realities with which we must live or die if we are not careful, or the economy will collapse. We have to address this problem. The country has to be lit. Industries have to be powered. The mines have to run. Plants across have to operate. They need electricity. We have had to look to investors, and we sat and we profiled, we prepared a profile of the ideal investor for us. And we determined that we needed serious investors for the long haul. Investors who are prepared to invest for the long term. Not investors who come looking for quick and easy profit to go. We want those who are here to stay. And we had to rigorously assess all investors that presented themselves to us. And it is out of that rigorous process of distillation that we have these eminent investors, each one in their own right, a big player in business and in the industry. One is a $150 billion company, respected, upstanding in the world. The other is a $20 billion company, and the others reputable, solid business entities that have come together into a consortium that partners with us to address a number of problems. One, the generation problem. Morupule B will be subjected to a serious reassessment, the end of which will be its refurbishment to bring it not just to optimality but to super optimality. Take it from being suboptimal to making it super optimal. That means it will be at 95% and above. That's about 600 megawatts of power at the best of times. Morupule B. Morupule A, which would otherwise be mothballed in 2 years, will also, from the technology that will be deployed, now enjoy a renewed lease on life. The consortium conservatively states that that extended period of life will be anything from 10 to 15 years. They are still in the process of refining this and the technology to deploy. It actually is possible to stretch it to 25 years. So what we would otherwise lose in 2 years and mothball, take out of existence entirely, will be super optimal, will enjoy an extended lease on life, giving us assurance of sustainable, reliable power generation. This is one of the prominent features of this deal that the minister and the consortium have just signed. Morupule B, I said, would also be super optimal. We will then have other aspects of this deal which involve Minergy, as another phase, and ultimately this partnership will carry us to the last phase, which is a coal to liquid phase, where we'll be able to generate our own fuel, diesel, and other petroleum byproducts in country. Technology will be internalized. They will deploy cutting-edge, world-class technology in Botswana, in the process of which skills will be transferred. The economy, in terms of its ability to generate power, will be stabilized and strengthened. And that should make for sustainable growth, because that will then create opportunities for other directions and avenues of development. This is what we are dealing with here today. These investors believe firmly in these projects. They believe fervently in them. Ordinarily, an investor coming in might say to us, we need a sovereign guarantee in respect of these investments we are going to put in. They have come in and said, we don't need. In fact, one of them said, if there is any need at any point for any guarantee, we are prepared to put it down. Seldom in the world will you ever encounter an investor who is so invested in a project that they are prepared to risk in that manner. This is the caliber of investors we have in front of us here today. They have staked their resources, they have staked their reputations, they are international players. And they have stepped up and said, we are partnering with Botswana. This is a monumental step of advance in our quest, not just to grow our economy, but to mobilize foreign direct investment into the country at a scale right now that will rise to $3 billion US, and in the fullness of time will reach 5.5 billion US dollars. This is real. This is concrete. It is tangible. We are dealing with investors who have already put boots on the ground. They already have begun. Their due diligence has begun in earnest, so that they then craft and fashion appropriate solutions for these issues that we've raised. They will also be investing in transmission infrastructure, which will include interconnectors to enable us to export to Zambia and further afield. It is important for us to understand this. I wanted to simplify it this way so that you appreciate it sounds in real impacts on lives and livelihoods, in advancing the economy and ultimately raising our GDP. This is what it's about. When we are now self-sufficient and we have exceeded our own needs, and this deal will place us in that space, we will be able to have about 760 megawatts of power to export, for export. We will also be able to export to South Africa, from which we now are importing. Now, when we save the about 3 billion or so that we regularly spend on imported power, when we save it, we make it available for other projects and uses in our society. The best money is the money you have in your hands, not that which you go looking for. And so if the money that we've been spending, we've been forced to spend, we will no longer spend on importation of power, it means we save it. We keep it in our hands. We can then apply it to other needs of our country. Not only that, we will then be able to export and raise more. This is what this quest is about. And I just wanted us to understand it this way and appreciate the enormity of this deal, this partnership, made up of folks like Ulsan, a company that doesn't just speak, it acts, it moves, it puts in resources. It already has operations in the country. And just the other day, I'm told they were driving, they saw an open piece of land somewhere around BDC, and they saw a board that said for sale, and they made contact immediately with a view to acquiring that piece of land and setting up their offices there. So it's not just in the power space, but it's in other spaces as well. That's serious commitment from an investor or from a consortium of investors. That's what we're looking for. That is what we now have, a huge opportunity. In the ultimate instance, we want to also reduce the cost of electricity. Still leave Botswana Power Corporation profitable and obviate, which causes a lot of confusion, obviate the need for the subsidy that government has to pay towards electricity. Removal of the subsidy is not throwing the nation under the bus. When we reduce the cost of power to such an extent that BPC can still on-sell the power profitably within very reasonable bounds, it would make it unnecessary, therefore, for government to provide any subsidy. Because the subsidy arises because the cost of procurement of the power that BPC on-sells doesn't match the price at which it is sold. There's a disparity. This divorce between that price and that cost and the price is what government has to step in and cover by way of a subsidy, which amounts to roughly about $75 million per financial year. So when we bring the cost down manageably without adversely affecting the lay of the land, as in BPC continuing to operate and function and generate reasonable returns, when we do that, not only have we saved on importation, we now save on the subsidy as well. Meaning we would then release $75 million into the economy to do other things. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we ought to have done way back. This is what has thwarted and frustrated any attempts to diversify this economy. And as I've said before, I say it again, we are now forced to diversify under pressure of calamity. We don't have a choice, we have to do it. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And there always is a hue and cry, raises tempers and tempos and blood pressures because things are not clicking. And there's a lot of noise, lots of complaints, criticisms. Not entirely unjustified. People want things to happen. But those who have to make them happen must not make the noise and must not be swayed by the noise. We focus on delivery. These are the brisk steps we are taking in the direction of delivery, and we are certain that we're on the right track. And that is why I say it again, that this country will be spectacularly different in 3 years. The first year is gone. We have 2. It's got to happen. One member of parliament was admonishing me today. She says, you are setting timelines that are too tight. You are putting yourself under pressure. Give yourself some more leeway. I said, no. I want to put myself under immense pressure. When your house is burning, you run at breakneck speed. And we are at that point where we should work around the clock. These deadlines mean that we work day and night to deliver. And only after we've delivered would we be entitled to rest and gloat, perhaps, so that we lay a firm foundation for generations that will come after us. This is the situation, folks. And to the press, when you communicate it, please communicate it accurately. State the facts. You are entitled to your opinions. In the legal profession, we don't take anybody's opinion. Before you give opinions, we test, are you an expert? Why are you entitled to state opinions? And if you claim to be an expert, we test your credentials. What makes you an expert? What have you done? Why should your opinions matter? But if you're just an ordinary citizen giving us your unanchored speculations, you're entitled to fulminate. But if you want to be taken seriously and claim expertise, please lay your credentials on the table so we test them first. And if we are satisfied with your credentials, we then might listen to your opinions. That you have a keyboard and a pen or a piece of paper doesn't make you an expert. So sometimes save the opinions. Give us the facts. Let us also state our own opinions, because we have them. And we will air them, and this is a democracy. But if you are a member of the press, respect your readers enough to, when you give them opinions, let them be solid. Let them be grounded on fact and evidence. This is all we ask. Thank you very, very much. And if you do that, we will love you even more. We will protect and defend you. But if you don't, and you keep besmirching people's characters, they will sue you. And you'll say people are now anti-democratic. No, they just are pro their reputations and their dignities and their fame sometimes. And so this is what it's about. It's not about hostility. It's about a demand for exacting standards. You must demand exacting standards of us, and allow us as well to demand exacting standards of you. So thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press. I thought we should understand these things and understand each other in this manner. I am humbled to be part of this journey. I am humbled to be at the helm. I am lucky to be the one to shepherd this country into this spectacular level of growth. And 2 years, I said, the next 2 years will be decisive. No sleeping. Look at me. You think I've slept? You can tell. You must age every day. If you are sitting pretty, sometimes you can't even eat. You see, then you understand what it's about. You understand. People are catching hell. People are on the downside of the economy. We need to work. We need to change their circumstances. It behooves us all, yourselves included, even the press. When you report, be thorough, be meticulous, probe, take any and everybody to task. Any and everybody to task. Take the minister to task. Take the president to take everybody to task. But make sure you establish the facts and then go on and analyze and assess. That's how these things work. So thank you very, very much. And I thank the nation too for their patience and their indulgence.